This is CBN NewsWatch.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm George Thomas. The death toll from the mysterious coronavirus rises to 17 as the World Health Organization meets today to decide whether to declare the virus a global health emergency. Our medical reporter, Lori Johnson, is here with the latest. Lori, could this be on the level of Zika and Ebola?
Right, and also SARS and MERS, two other coronaviruses. So right now, George, the focus is on containment, making sure this doesn't spread, which in this case is a huge challenge. The virus originated in Wuhan, China, a major city of 11 million people. And to make matters worse, right now is the height of the holiday travel season there. So literally, millions of people are going in and out of the city to throughout the world. One of those tourists, a Seattle, Washington man, the first diagnosed case in the U.S. who's now in isolation there. The CDC is tracking down people he may have infected since arriving in the U.S. last week from China. That was before the new travel restrictions. Now, people coming into the U.S. from Wuhan are being routed through 5 major airports where CDC officials are screening them for the virus. President Trump saying everything will be fine.
We do have a plan, and we think it's going to be handled very well. We've already handled it very well. CDC has been terrific, very great professionals, and we're in very good shape. And I think China's in very good shape also. Thank you very much.
Chinese officials are screening people leaving Wuhan, disinfecting the streets there, and canceling public events, all in an effort to contain the spread of the virus, keeping in mind, like all viruses, George, this one has the potential to mutate, to change, and when that happens, sometimes it can spread even faster and become more serious.
So on that very point, how concerned should we be?
Well, this is a coronavirus, and scientists can detect coronaviruses by looking under a microscope and seeing the telltale pointiness, like crowns. That's what corona means in Latin. Sometimes coronaviruses are very mild, like the common cold. Sometimes, like SARS and MERS, they're very deadly. MERS, 35% of people who got it died. So we don't know at this point. The main concern is, have you been to China, or have you been in contact with someone who's been to China?
So what are some of the symptoms that people should be watching out for?
Well, it's coronaviruses are upper respiratory tract infections. So like the common cold or the flu, things like cough, difficulty breathing, sore throat, runny nose, fever, and headaches.
And so what should people do if they have these symptoms?
Go see your doctor, but make sure to mention whether you've been traveling to Asia or have been in contact with anyone.
So far, my understanding is that we've lost about 17 people. Hundreds have been infected. I mean, are they coming out with a virus? Is there any way to counter this coronavirus?
That's a good question. The National Institutes of Health is working on a vaccine. It is a virus, so antibacterials don't work on it, but antivirals do. These antiviral medications are prescription only, and they work best when they're taken within 24 hours to 48 hours after your symptoms appear.
And I think this makes it all the more challenging because, as you mentioned in your read up to this, that China is they're enjoying the lunar holiday. Millions of people are going all across China and around the world. So that's why the precautions are really high.
Absolutely. And, the World Health Organization, if they issue this emergency declaration, they don't have any enforcement power, but they can at least alert other countries to enact certain things similar to the way the United States has.
Yeah, I remember covering the Ebola crisis in Africa, and boy, when that broke out, that was huge pandemonium around the world, and it was something that we took very seriously. And hopefully we don't get to that level with this particular coronavirus. As always, Lori, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
You're most welcome. Okay, so President Donald Trump bragged on the U.S. economy today at a surprise news conference in Davos, Switzerland. My colleague Mark Martin joins joins us now with more. Mark, tell us what happened.
George, the president spoke at the World Economic Forum before departing from the gathering of the global business community. Trump described the forum as a tremendous success. He said he got to watch glimpses of the impeachment trial in between meetings at the forum and referred to the trial as wasting time in Washington. Trump also talked about the World Trade Organization, saying it has been very unfair to the United States for many, many years. But he went on to say that he and the Director General of the World Trade Organization have a tremendous relationship and will be working together on something Trump thinks, quote, will be very dramatic. The president also used the opportunity to discuss again the U.S. economy.
Since my election, America has gained over 7 million new jobs. The unemployment rate is now the lowest in over half a century. The average unemployment rate for my administration is the lowest of any U.S. president in recorded history, which is very nice. We have some good ones. We have some bad ones, too, by the way. Unemployment rates among African American, Hispanic American, Asian Americans has reached a record low in the history of our country, the lowest.
The president also said everyone's talking about America's unprecedented economic success. It's really the talk of the town, so to speak. But reporters continued to focus on the impeachment trial in Washington. Trump addressed the World Economic Forum over 2 days this week, holding meetings with leaders from the European Union, Iraq, and Pakistan, among others. George, back to you.
Mark, thank you so much for that report on the subject of impeachment. We go to our nation's capital, where it is day 2 of the Senate's impeachment trial of the President of the United States. The Republican-controlled Senate rejected several attempts by Democrats to introduce new witnesses and documents during the proceedings. Democrats accused the president of abusing his power and trying to cover up his actions, a charge the president has repeatedly denied. Democrats wanted the president's former national security advisor, John Bolton, to testify as a witness, but Republicans blocked that effort. CBN News, by the way, is providing special coverage of the impeachment trial live every day right here on the CBN News Channel. And you can be sure to watch CBN's Faith Nation for more extensive coverage and analysis of the impeachment proceedings. We now move overseas to Israel, where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and other lawmakers in Jerusalem today. Pelosi and a bipartisan U.S. congressional delegation is visiting the region to attend the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. The event on Thursday at Jerusalem's Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial is expected to be the largest ever gathering of leaders to commemorate the Holocaust. Along with Vice President Mike Pence, leaders from Russia, France, Germany, Italy, and Austria will join more than 40 other dignitaries for the commemoration. Israel is one of the global leaders in incorporating new technology to the battlefield. As my colleague Chris Mitchell reports, the Israel Defense Forces recently announced a major breakthrough in the use of laser technology and how it could change warfare as we know it. Take a look.
The IDF says it's a game changer. Laser technology that can transform the 21st century battlefield. These lasers can intercept threats from a variety of sources, including drones, rockets, artillery, mortars, and anti-tank guided missiles. Israel faces threats from terror groups in Gaza that have fired more than 2,600 rockets in the past 2 years, while Hezbollah on its northern border has an estimated 150,000 rockets and missiles. Currently, Israel has a 3-pronged anti-missile defense, including the Iron Dome, David's Sling, and the Arrow 3. Drones are one weapon that's becoming a major part of modern warfare. Iran used long-range drones to cripple Saudi Arabia's main oil processing facility last September. The IDF's Director of Defense Research and Development, Brigadier General Yaniv Rotem, said, "We are entering a new age of energy warfare in the air, land, and sea. The R&D investments made in the last years have placed the State of Israel among the leading countries in the field of high-energy laser systems." The IDF is developing 3 separate systems to be deployed on the battlefield. A ground-based laser system to complement Israel's Iron Dome anti-missile system, a platform-mounted laser system to defend troops in the field, and a laser system mounted in the air to intercept threats from the air and defend large areas on the ground. The IDF says it will test these capabilities throughout 2020. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Thank you, Chris. Coming up, the latest offering from Hollywood in a movie about marriage doesn't paint a positive picture. But the real picture of marriage may surprise the movie makers. That story when we come back.
To have sex before you marry is a bad idea.
Don't tell me there's no such thing as gun violence.
That just depends on your definition of when life begins.
Watch Dan and Dale tackle trending topics that test your faith on the next Faith Wire, Monday night at 9:30. The Global Lane takes you around the world, providing facts over fiction.
What might rising trade and geopolitical tensions mean for you on the home front?
With over 45 years of experience, award-winning journalist Gary Lane brings you the truth from a global angle.
What about the issue of immigration?
World news analysis you won't see anywhere else.
And it's all right here on the Global Lane.
Watch The Global Lane, Thursday night at 9:30.
And welcome back to the CBN News Channel. It's National Sanctity of Human Life Day 2020. President Trump signed the proclamation calling on Congress to join him in protecting and defending the dignity of every human life. The March for Life is held each January as part of what the president called celebrating life and standing for it. Thousands gather at the National Mall to rally for the unborn in a peaceful protest of legal abortion in America. This year's National March will be Friday in our nation's capital. And Franklin Graham just announced he will be marching in it for the first time this year. The movie Marriage Story is up for 6 Oscars. It paints a pretty grim picture of the institution played out in the marriage relationship of a New York director and Los Angeles actress trying to make marriage work from coast to coast. However, the National Review reports on American Enterprise Institute findings that show 68% of college-educated Californians from the home of Hollywood report it is personally important to them to have their children in marriage, something that might differ from Hollywood elite views on it. Concerned Women for America's Penny Nance joins us now with more on these findings. Welcome, Penny. First of all, your thoughts on these findings. They don't exactly agree with the progressive, more liberal view on marriage and kids, right?
That's so funny that this story in National Review points out that when they surveyed the attitudes of the more elite of Hollywood, they were very progressive, but their personal lives were way more conservative. Among college-educated people that lived in, the most Tony areas of Hollywood, 80% of them were in traditional marriages with children, intact marriages with children. And so it's interesting, although their attitudes were progressive, they recognize that a marriage between a man and a woman that stays together for life and rears their children together is the healthiest union. And the fact that, it's economically better for our children, for our future. So I thought it was kind of interesting that, although they talk left, they tend to be pretty conservative in their personal lives.
What is the reality when it comes to marriage today?
You know, I think there's good news and bad news about marriage in America. We see that the divorce rates are actually down. You know, the old story is that 50% of marriages end in divorce. And really, right now, we're looking at the numbers around 39%, which if we can call that a win, you know, I'll take it. It's better than the former. But the bad news is people are getting married much later. We're noticing that for the first time, the median marriage age for women is 28%, and for men is 30%. And so because they're getting married lately, you're seeing fertility rates decline. You're seeing choices sometimes decline for women. But I really think that it's a very positive thing that we're seeing less divorce. We're also seeing, though, a spike, and it's been a growing trend in cohabitation. And cohabitation doesn't, although people think that it's helpful for long-term marriage, it does not work out that way in reality statistically. So I think that we are doing a good job of just really kind of driving home the message, the importance of marriage. But I think we need to really continue to have that discussion, and not just with college-educated Americans, but Americans of every educational level, the importance of marriage, the importance of staying marriage. And as conservatives and as people of faith, we need to work to help people stay married.
Yeah, let me just expand on that real quickly, Penny. Talk about the importance of marriage and family. Why is it so important to the fabric of America?
You know, God's word is true. And the principles that God lays out in the Bible are there for a reason. And what we know is that when families fall apart, when divorce happens as their children, we know that economically it is hurtful for women. It's hurtful for families. Children tend not to do as well in every measurement, educationally, economically, health-wise, when they grow up in a family that does not have a dad and mom in the home. And so it doesn't mean that kids can't turn out well. It doesn't mean that there aren't moms and dads who are doing Herculean efforts to raise their children well, raise them in the Word and raise them in church and doing a great job of raising their kids. It just means it's a lot harder, because it was a job that God designed for two people. And any single mom would tell you that it's a very difficult journey for her. So what I would say is, we as Christians and in the church as a whole need to really recognize the importance of marriage, teach it to our congregants, teach it to our friends and neighbors, and then work to come alongside them in every way possible to help them work out the hard work that is marriage. I'm getting ready in about a month to celebrate 24 years of marriage to a great man. A great man. I love my husband, but marriage is hard and it takes work, and we need to affirm and work and help each other.
Okay, terrific. We just have a few seconds. Real quickly, let's switch gears here and go back to the report on Sanctity of Life Day we just had and the upcoming March for Life. It's something Concerned Women for America is part of each year. Quickly, what's the theme this year, and why is this march so important?
Life empowers, pro-life is pro-woman is the theme of the March for Life. The March for Life staff picked that. Jeannie Mancini's the president of the March for Life and a dear friend, and it is just a collective effort among pro-life community all over the country. Some of us will be here in Washington. Hundreds of thousands of us will be here in Washington marching, as we have every year since Roe v. Wade. It's 47 sad, long years. And of course, there will be marches around the country in states and cities around the nation. So if you can't come to Washington, try to participate in some other march.
Awesome.
Look online and join us if you can.
Fantastic.
And pray.
Thank you. Thank you, Penny. I'm sorry we have to leave it there. Penny Nance,
No
Concerned
problem.
Women for America. Thank
God
you so much
bless
for
you.
joining us. God bless you, too. Folks, still ahead, a former witch has a warning about a new Disney cartoon about witchcraft.
Yeah, I got that.
On the home front.
Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
On the Home Front, Tuesday morning at 10:30.
If you want to be an attorney with a passion for serving people and for excellence, Regent University needs to be high on your list.
Regent's award-winning law school doesn't just create lawyers. We create leaders, judges, prosecutors and defense lawyers, civil litigators, and leaders in government.
My focus has been trying to really make sure we have the future leaders we need for the bench and the bar and for society generally.
You'll learn from highly credentialed leaders who are current and former judges, distinguished scholars, and ACLJ counsel.
I'm so glad I chose Regent. The relationships here have been amazing. The faculty have been amazing. Not everybody's called to the same thing when they leave law school, but they're called by a God who has a purpose for their lives, and He is going to use that education to make a difference in the world.
Regent will prepare you to be a purpose-driven, practice-ready lawyer. To start your rewarding law career, complete the online application, submit your transcripts, and take the law school admissions test by July. Apply today.
Welcome back to the CBN News Channel. There's a new Disney cartoon called The Owl House that has one former witch issuing a stark warning. Charlene Aaron talked with her about the cartoon she says could lead your child down the wrong path.
First of all, tell us, what was it like for you growing up?
It was really hard growing up. I was in a very dysfunctional family. We went to church on Sunday, but yet behind closed doors, there was a lot of abuse. There was a lot of name calling. There was a lot of hitting, and there was a lot of poverty. And so it was really hard for me growing up. It was just all day long. I felt like I was just in a very depressed state.
Ben, you started cutting yourself, which opened the door for a lot of other things. Tell us about that.
So about the age of 13, I got really depressed. I was bullied at school. I started to get vitiligo, which is a skin condition that causes the skin color to be removed. So kids were brutal at school, and then coming home and having that same abuse at home, I started to feel really depressed. And I remember hearing these voices telling me, just kill yourself, just go away, be better off if you would just die. And so I started to cut my wrist severely. I remember having 56 cuts all up and down my arms. My arms were shredded. And it was a way in my mind that I was able to escape. But really, it was a demonic hold on my life that caused me to open doors to witchcraft and practicing spells and incantations and studying the religion of Wiccan.
Wow, Jenny. And there is a lot of talk today about witchcraft. You were once a witch. You mentioned about casting spells. What was that experience like? And talk about how this is something that we're seeing on the rise, witchcraft on the rise.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I tell parents when I minister is it's not a joke when we say, be careful what your children are watching. I actually watched a movie that was very popular when I was in high school. It was called The Craft. And the movie was about 4 high school witches that had all of this power, that had all of this control. So me being from a broken home, not feeling like I had control over the situation, I saw it as a means of gaining control and being able to be powerful when I didn't feel powerful. And so I got into all of that, and it's easy to research. And so I was able to research and study and go to little shops, which you would be really surprised that you go into a shop and it's actually a witchcraft shop under the disguise of just tapping into energy and new age things. And so that's how it really started for me. And I'm telling you, it was one of the darkest times of my life. That realm is very real, just like the kingdom of God and the Holy Ghost is very real. So is that realm. And when you get in there and you open those doors, you need to be very careful because the enemy wants to take you out.
And Jenny, during this time you were taking drugs. How bad was your drug problem?
I got into drugs about the age of 17 when I ended up homeless on the streets by myself. And I started off with just partying with people, ecstasy, and then that led to cocaine. And then I had a full-blown addiction for 9 years to heroin and methamphetamines. I was in and out of jail. I was in and out of clinics, methadone clinics, trying to get off of the heroin. When I would stop using and try to get clean, the withdrawals would be so severe, it would put my body into shock almost to the point of death. So it was very dangerous for me, even though I wanted to be clean, to actually get off the drugs. And that was a 9-year span of drug use.
Wow, powerful story. You can see the full article and interview with Jenny Weaver on our CBN News website. We'll be back right after this.
If you want to be an attorney with a passion for serving people and for excellence, Regent University needs to be high on your list.
Regent's award-winning law school doesn't just create lawyers. We create leaders, judges, prosecutors and defense lawyers, civil litigators, and leaders in government. Ready to become a purpose-driven, practice-ready lawyer? To start your rewarding career, complete the online application, submit your transcripts, and take the law school admissions test by July.
Nutrition, exercise, essential oils, weight loss, and more. It's Healthy Living with Lori Johnson.
Talk about what's in this.
Join CBN health reporter Lori Johnson to get the latest information from today's top health experts.
This is fantastic.
Find out what you need to know to live a healthier life. Watch Healthy Living, Tuesday night at 9:30.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
Millsburg Falls man.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
And welcome back to the CBN News Channel. Truett Foster McKinnon, the son of Christian rapper Toby Mac, was confirmed to have died of accidental overdose, according to a representative for the family. The 21-year-old suffered a fatal cardiac arrest on October 23rd of last year after consuming a mix of fentanyl and amphetamines. The representative told People magazine he died at the family's Tennessee home. Toby Mac has openly grieved the loss of his eldest son, penning lengthy tributes and even recording a song in his honor. He says the song 21 Years is a song he never wanted to write and hopes it also helps others out there. Our prayers still go out to his family and others who have lost children. Folks, that is it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel anytime or online at cbnnews.com. Also, tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. And you can reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Well, folks, we hope you will join us again next time. From all of us here in the studio and back in the control room, have a fantastic day, and God bless you.